Get started here. Ned, I know you'll let me know if everything is recording properly. Good morning. Today's date's Monday, October 27th, 2025. It's 9 a.m., Mr. Ramon. Sure. So we'll go start the Commissioner's Court. We got all four commissioners here. County Attorney Bill Malone's here, other elected officials. If you'll please rise with the pledge of allegiance, followed by the prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Commissioner Williams, will you lead us into prayer?
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day that you have granted us. Father, thank you for the rain that you have bestowed upon Mills County. Father, be with us as we do the business of Mills County. Guide and direct us in all our actions. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen and amen on the rain. Good rain throughout this county this week, and we sure needed it. Okay, number 2, review and act on minutes of October 13th, 2025.
One correction needs to be done. That I see on page 2, number 12. It says discussion with proposal of Mills County law enforcement cameras and related matters, Sheriff Jones and David Jones. I think that it should be, unless they're kin folks, should be David's sons.
Okay, I will look at
Sons.
SONS is how it's spelled. Yeah. I will
If you'll look at the last line, it's correct.
Yeah.
It's just a typo.
Okay. Yeah, there changes or comments on the minutes from October 13th. Okay, motion's been made with the needed correction.
Second.
Second been made by Commissioner Williams. All those in favor of approving the minutes from October 13th, 2025, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Number 2, audience with individuals. The audience with individuals today. So you know, we got some experts to talk to us later. Number 4, consider an act on approving accounts payables. Commissioners should check the accounts payables.
Make a motion that we approve the accounts payables.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Williams to approve the accounts payables. Second by, he beats it by just a fraction second. Second's been made by Commissioner Sullivan. Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving the accounts payable, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Number 5, executive session according to Texas Government Code 551.071 and Texas Government Code 551.074. I'll make a motion that we go into executive session. The time would be 9:03. Here a second. Second been made by Commissioner Williams. So all those in favor going executive session.
I didn't make the second.
Robert.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Head. Sorry. All those in favor going to executive session, say aye. Aye. We will recess Commissioner Court and be back shortly. So.
Okay.
John, just hang loose now. Go there. Well, tell us a good story. Well, I don't know. So does he from the commission board? So did he come to or? Yes. Yes. More in. I didn't hear. We got sent this session to a different. So,
this come here, the 6th and 12th, and then exactly Friday. That's what we go for.
We have from my research, Ms. Summer, some counties have a general fund account, some have a special fund account they've created. We want to do whatever's easiest for it. So, do you have any recommendations? Well, again, we got both.
You need to, can you come up to the mic?
Yeah, let's go up here.
So that they know, I met with you and the sheriff and the county attorney last week, and I explained the deadlines, which I'm under right now.
Sure.
Are October 31st, and so I have spoke with a couple of treasurers. I'm not gonna be able to address it until after November 1st.
Well, the deadline is December the 1st on this compliance, so we're just starting to look at this and we will
And so
do.
when talking with the comptroller, yes, Jet can delegate it to me, but there is no avenue for me to do the recording myself. They're working on that. I think it's something new. There's just what they're asking for is new, so there's hasn't been much guidance in the treasurer area anyways, because I think they expected sheriffs and judges to do the compliance report, and so I think we're all struggling with the same thing.
But which we're glad to do. Again, there's numbers like interest, how much interest was made on this Senate Bill 22 money.
But didn't we just put that into,
That's the first thing
Yeah.
to come up against. We don't know, I don't know if you have a permission to solve them. Yes.
Ain't there schooling to go through on that?
Or
Ain't there?
well, they said,
schooling to
there's a
go through?
compliance seminar, the sheriff sit in one day. We were having criminal court. Sheriff, you want to say anything that you got added to this? It's about a 1-hour seminar that the sheriff sit in, and he printed off a report on that.
but if you're the compliance officers, aren't you supposed to do the training too?
Well, as right when it occurred was during criminal court, Commissioner Williams from, we had from about 9 to 10:30 that day, and I think it started at 9 o'clock, so I couldn't make the compliance meeting.
When we think of training, there's not actually an official training site that you can go to. At this point, what Heather Hampton has prepared was just a 2-hour conference on that. Most of that dealt with what SB 22 is, and not a lot about how we go about preparing this compliance report. So as the treasurer alluded to, this is something that's going to be some new territory for all of us. Most of that information that they're requesting is what exists under the treasurer's supervision. So as we're beginning to get our mind around all of this, a lot of that information will have to come from the treasurer's department. Things like how much interest is.
Yeah, but I don't know, how do we figure that when we put it in the general fund?
It does create some complexities, and if I understand from the way the treasurer talks, there's complexities in either way you do that, so we'll just have to, Judge Foley's treasurer has handled it that way.
And since that,
Others have handled it in different ways, so essentially what it will amount to is whatever Summer chooses to do, and which will be the best way to handle that. So I think that's something that should be left in her wheelhouse. For do I want separate accounts where that is figured for me by the bank, or do I want to leave it in the general fund and figure it myself? So if you put it in a separate fund, well, that fund, and I'm speaking on your behalf, Summer, I should be, but
Go on.
Go and take over.
if you put those monies in a separate account, then what Summer has to arrange at the bank is that those accounts are drawn upon every 2 weeks for the paychecks. So there's complexities in both sides of that.
Yeah,
So
that
as we're working through this, I guess this time here is for Summer to decide, does she want to put that in a separate account and have it worked out that way and set up all the drafts? Or would she want to keep that in the general fund and then just figure that interest that is accrued as it's drawn from or drawn on every 2 weeks for pay, and then as it's drawn on when things are purchased through that SB 22 acquiring process.
So again, the compliance report, the sheriff sat through it. I was getting this in criminal court for 2 hours that day, and he got a printout, but it's just kind of a general printout of blah, 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 everything
So, and
that's required.
one of the things that compliance report didn't talk about was figuring the interest on the note, right? So they tell you, you can use it for these things. When you use it for these things, then we'll need a report on it. But how that actually happens, how that compliance report, who houses all that information, all that kind of stuff wasn't there. So it just says there is a compliance report, judge has that, we can disseminate that to you if you want to. And just.
So the report's by the comptroller's office?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
I meant, it has a report. You don't have to make one.
It's-
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
There's drop down boxes. The first question we came to when we started trying to fill it out was how much interest was earned on this money. And that's where we had to stop. So.
It won't let you.
Where
Won't
was,
let you continue with
It
the
won't let you
application?
Process past that until you figure it out. So it is a little bit complex there. Or in trying to sit down and figure out what's going to be encompassed in the entire report without progressing past the interest part. But the interest part seems to be the most complex part.
And Summer, I did get an email from last week from the controller's office. They recommended a special account, but again, some counties have a general account, some the special. I don't know.
So that would be fine to do if we had discussed that in the budget process and we're financially transparent that way. It's kind of like we're already on this road. We have to continue down it
Okay.
until we can address the budget next time.
Okay.
I think I have a resource that's gonna be able to help do the interest. I don't think that's the most complex part of this at all. I think that would end up being easy. It's just gathering up.
That's encouraging.
The payroll information is probably
Sure.
the most complex for me because I have a 30-year-old system, so I'm trying to run reports that are gonna break it down and show it easily for the comptroller is the complex part for me, so.
Well, we know you're extremely busy, so sometime after November the first, you'd slow down a little bit more than.
You will have your compliance report recorded by December 1st.
Yes, we'll work on it, start after November. Okay, commissioners, any other questions?
So what are you asking us for on this agenda item
yeah,
there?
Well, we didn't know if we're gonna do anything or not, Commissioner Williams. We didn't know if we had to transfer anything when we put this on there. I'd say there's no action gonna be taken.
So I think it is-
Are we telling the treasurer to do this though?
Tell them what to do, well, we're not telling them to do anything.
We've told the treasurer.
Well, as far as getting the numbers and whatnot, the sheriff and I are gonna be working on filling this out, and the county attorney's got to fill the same thing out too.
Have we reapplied for it next year?
Yeah, we applied for it, yeah, next year, yes.
So that's-
Law enforcement assessment. But I think
That's kind of hard. Aren't
So
we
this-
already in
this
that
is
budget
just-
process?
That's what someone was alluding to.
Yeah.
Those monies have already been deposited in that general fund.
But she just said that she hadn't got his for this year.
So the sheriff's office has already been deposited, that 250 has already been deposited into the general fund. So one of the questions today would have been, do we need to set up separate accounts at the bank, which would have required y'all's? Okay,
which we can't do at this point because we're not in a budget process. I've talked to Lois that's in Saturday. I don't think this is gonna be an issue to, figure out the judge. She's gonna come over, we're gonna work on it. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna go to Lockwood County. After that, it's, what's behind the next door. And I think it's.
So you can't go forward to see what's on the next door.
Now they have slides that can consult.
Yeah, really to
is
explain.
this just the compliance deal, the comptroller's office wants to know how much interest is made and where it's going?
Basically, the determination of how you spent your money, and then did you spend it all, and if you didn't. how
You gotta
much
turn
you
it
have
back.
left over, you gotta pay us back.
Take it back.
And so that's kind of what. we're-
With their interest on that
If-
money?
If we don't spend all of the money, the interest is part of this. So,
and if you did spend any of that interest money, did you spend it in accordance with SB contract?
No, I would think that the total 250,000 would have to be spent before the interest
that's
would
fair.
even come into play.
That's fine.
Nothing ain't free.
Okay, any other questions?
But as far as their salaries, they have their salary and then they have a stipend pay that
Right,
makes
well,
up this, right?
and that's real easy to say, but they're wanting to back it up, they're wanting our payroll ledger, which my system is old and complex, we're trying to figure out how to run a report that breaks it all out, and that's something Jackie's working on today. So I believe it was put on the agenda just in case we found out we needed to put it in a separate account. That's not necessarily true. And as far as we're having to do it this way for last year, because we're reporting on last year, we're just gonna continue on this road. And if somebody tells me it's easier to do it separate accounts, we'll do it next year.
Okay,
That's me.
any other questions? Ms. Campbell, thank you. Somebody have anything, Sheriff? So no action will be taken on that. Okay, number 8, consider an act on declaring items in precinct 2 as salvage and related matters. I believe Commissioner Head, that is yours. Go ahead, sir.
I think I went open on the truck stuff and not, just need to get them out of my yard and, 2 truck rims when when that, brake seal came apart and 2 rims that damaged.
Yeah.
Just gonna throw them in the morning.
Let me read that off. You want to read that?
You want me to read
Well,
it?
I don't know that you have to. This is metal culvert 36 by 20, 2 metal culverts 16 by 24, 3 metal culverts 12 by 20, 1 metal culvert 18 by 24, and 2 truck rims.
Why are we having to accept bids?
Last time I had to, I don't know why.
If it's
But they're-
dedicated salvage, it goes straight to the
Well, I mean,
salvage.
it's.
You can go to salvage yard, yes, sir.
But that's why I got rid of some, I'm gonna take it to the salvage yard, scrap yard, but I mean, last time, they're already getting bids before I could take it to the scrap yard. So, I don't know, unless the county attorney says something different.
Okay,
Now, I asked Bill Malone about it too, and he kind of like, yeah, it sounds like the direction you gotta go with, so, okay, so run that in paper, and then a couple of weeks, I'll call to the junkyard.
Okay.
So what if somebody bids on it?
what's that?
Well, I mean, you.
You know, have to be sealed bids. That'll have to be opened in court.
That'll be open in court.
But I don't,
Okay, any other discussion or?
yeah, is there, I mean, well,
I don't know.
I've never done it that way. We've always just declared it as salvage and take it to the scrap yard.
well, that's why I did, the first time I did that, and then after that, Darryl said you had to do it, so then this time when I was doing it, I had the bill, and he said, yeah, that's the way you gotta do it.
Okay,
So I don't know, I mean, the first time I hauled a bunch of junk off, I just declared it and took it to Broward scrap yard or whatever, I think, or whatever, and got rid of it. And then then I tried to do another load of it, and Gerald said, no, I had to write newspaper for bids, and then take it to the junkyard in Brownwood. And then this time I asked Bill, and he said, yeah, that's the way you gotta do it, so it's a bit lot easier just to declare it and take it off, I don't know. So there you go.
Okay,
I make a motion that we accept the declaring of items for precinct 2 as salvage and going out for bid services.
okay, motion been made by Commissioner Williams, second by Commissioner Head. Any other discussion? All those in favor of declaring the items precinct 2 as salvage, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Number 9, consider an act on declaring 2004 JCB backhoe as surplus to be auctioned off at Live Oak Auction November 22nd. Whose is that?
Whose is it?
That's
So
great.
that's
Okay,
JCB backhoe that's sitting in the yard, been there ever since I've started. And it's been sitting there longer than that, and if it sits any longer, we're gonna have trees growing in it and grass growing in it and everything like that, if nobody wants to use it. We got an excavator does a better job than the backhoe, so I figured let's run it through an auction.
Does it run?
It runs, there's some problems with the bucket when you go to use it. Sometimes it'll go out, sometimes it won't, sometimes. And
Oh, I
there's some
used it.
hydraulic problems on it.
I used it one day down there, the bucket leaks down, the stinger leaks down, it don't have any brakes.
then that's pretty good.
Other than that, it's.
That's one of the better backhoes we got at.
Well, we can let it sit there and throw a tree in it, I don't, it doesn't matter. I figured let's just get some money out of it.
Sounds good. Commissioners, any other questions or discussion? You don't want to do a motion on that, gentlemen?
I'll make a motion
Okay.
to put it on Cowboys or Live Oaks auction, November 22nd.
Motion been made by Commissioner Porton to put the backhoe to send it to the auction in Live Oak. Second by Commissioner Sullivan. Any other discussion? All those in
The
favor?
only other discussion I got on that is just because you get it sold and get the money, you can't spend money. You
It
know,
won't be in my yard.
okay, but I'm just telling you how that, what we found out, the only way that you get to spend that money is if you deleted all other money in your budget before you can get to it. So that's one of those deals.
Okay, so a motion's been made by Commissioner Porton and second by Commissioner Sullivan. Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving the backhoe as surplus be auctioned Live Oak, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Number 10, consider an act on purchase order for John Deere 670G maintainer.
Hey, we had put this in the budget. We got a maintainer. We got going now, but it's, I guess I've been here 5 years. It's been down 2 years. We've looked and, finally decided, to get one similar to, well, nearly exactly to what we got, same controls, everything else. Price on it's gonna be $323,057.15. We'll order it right now. Delivery will not be until May of next year. So that's how long it's gonna take to get it here, so. Yeah, so, they had one with about $500, but it had the finger control stuff and I'm just leery to have two maintainers that have different control patterns. So
Sounds
we're
good.
just gonna go ahead and, if it gets approved, get this one ordered and hopefully we'll see it in May.
Okay, commissioners, questions, discussion?
I make a motion, we approve the purchase order for the John Deere 670G for precinct 3.
Okay, motion been made by Commissioner Williams for the purchase order for John Deere 670G maintainer. I'll second that. Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving the purchase order for John Deere 670G maintainer, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Number 11, consider an act on request for proposal for Mills County law enforcement cameras and related matters. Mr. David Sons from Cross Plains, Texas. Good morning, sir. And Sheriff, you might come up here too, young man. And so, we have done this before. This is gonna be a, RFP. And it's gonna be run in the paper, several spots on our website. And before I forget, Miss Annette did want me to ask, who runs the ad and when you get the day's paper, if this is approved? Are y'all gonna send in or do you have the ad ready to go to?
Yes, so one of the documents I gave you is,
Okay,
yes, notification for RFP.
go ahead, David, let me take it over, turn it
All
over.
right, so basically you have presented you the same RFP 2 weeks ago to change the date for potential approval. And also I provided you a timeline. It's the spreadsheet looking thing. It kind of gives just the individual step, to get this RFP process through to the finish line.
Okay, a couple of questions that I had on the RFP.
Yes.
Sheriff, you may be able to answer this. On page 11. We added under the recordings of we added 180 days. And is that a requirement? Or are we just going out to look at that? Is that,
See what the additional
okay,
cost is for that.
because that's an addition there.
Right, the jail standard, I believe, is 45 days.
Okay. And then it talks about only on number 5, same under recordings. Cloud only based storage is not preferred.
Correct.
It's okay. And those two are added. And the only other one is I didn't see a lot about the door system and the lock system.
A lot of that's covered on page 3, number 4, paragraph B. Where I found that that would encompass most of that. Now, when we do that walkthrough, that will be very imperative to say or make sure that we mention that in that door lock system, that would be a non-proprietary system that they put in there. So that we don't end up against the same thing we're up against right now, which is a proprietary system, which is.
Okay, well, I just noticed that this doesn't say a lot about the locks, doors and stuff, so I know that one's added, but I just didn't know.
Questions that Dave and I had this morning, also on my mind, just so you know, that will be something that as we're doing that walkthrough with each one of them, that system, one of the requirements will be is that is a non-proprietary system.
Well, that answers my question, and that's not, thank y'all for discussing that.
And David, these dates that you sent to us, I know you verified those dates, everything looks pretty good, those are timelines. So,
And would like to know on number 10, September, the review of bid proposals will be formally committee.
Okay.
With IT, with the sheriff. Okay. We will scrutinize those bids very carefully to make sure that they.
okay, so as soon as this is approved, then today we'll go ahead and get in the Go Play Eagle that's due by lunchtime or so. Dave, if you can, after we finish, David, go visit Miss Annette.
Yeah, so what we got, bid, advertising number 1, will go out on Wednesday, November the 5th. So that means that you have to have this notice in the paper Monday before 10 o'clock, I believe. The deadline.
Okay. All right. Commissioners, any questions for these gentlemen?
But supposedly what we gotta go through again is what we went through a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and this time though, the challenge is David and I were talking about it before court today, is you've got 2 holidays, 2 or 3 big holidays in the middle of all this, and so.
That's why it's kind of.
And so that's why it's spread out a little bit, because I'm just reading the lines. I'm sure the sheriff would like to start this tomorrow, instead of, waiting on doing this timeline, but.
One of the discussions that David and I had this morning is what we're going to make sure of is if we get a system in there that's going to be something that we can use and it's going to be something that will be usable for the lifespan, 10-year lifespan. So it's not even, we are in a hurry to get done. What I'm in particular about, I'm more concerned about is if we get a system that's going to be beneficial to what we're doing out there. The types of cameras we have and things of that nature, so the RFP and that many circumstances are going to be things that if we look at all of these things, scrutinize them somewhat to make sure that that is a system that's going to be beneficial for what we're using it for. Maybe people to the cameras and things of that nature, that attention, space, and time is very important to us. So all of those things that we'll look at in that committee session as well, to make sure that that is a system that going to be beneficial to the LEC and the county. So when we think about whatever happens out there, the county is going to get involved in that as much as anyone. So all of this will be looked at very closely to make sure that it's a good system. I don't want to end up in another circumstance like we had in the past.
And the deadline for receiving these bids, as y'all see, Commissioners, is Friday, January the 9th, 2026. Then the bids will be open in Commissioners Court Monday, January the 12th, 2026. And then we have about a 2-week period of reviewing the bids.
Right.
Our Goldsmith team will help us a lot on that. Okay. Any other questions, Commissioners?
I make a motion that we approve the RFP for Mills County Law Enforcement and cameras
Okay.
to go out for.
Motion been made by Commissioner Williams. Second by Commissioner Head. Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving the RFP for Mills County Law Enforcement cameras, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. David, thank you. Go visit with the net, like I said. Thank you, Commissioner Stones. Appreciate it. Thank you, Sheriff. Number 12, consider an act on resolution for CTECD. Sheriff, better come back up regarding PSAP interlocal agreement. We're going to talk about that. You thought you were sitting down and done, but you got one more thing, Sheriff.
I'll say it again.
Okay, this is considering act. I think we do this every year on resolution for CTECD regarding PSAP, interlocal agreement and related matters. The 911.
Okay, I'm not real familiar with that, so, if I understand correctly, this is something that we do every year, so I have not, been approached by anyone that suggested we needed to change how we handle this.
Okay,
What we've done in the past would be,
and this is through the COG, Central Texas Council of Governments,
right,
yeah. So everything be business as usual. Melissa, do you have anything we need to add or no? Okay, all right.
And the county's only, we went through this once before, the county only has one piece out.
Say that again,
The county only has one piece out.
one piece out. Okay,
Now, y'all might check on that, but it's through the county. We went through this with the former sheriff. That he was trying to control and piece out.
okay. Any other comments or questions?
There's a lot of empty blanks on this. Are they supposed to be filled out?
Okay,
Judge, do you know?
I don't know if we're supposed to be filled or not. So we got sent in.
Attachment B and transfer of ownership. Attachment C.
There's an exhibit 5, I see reimbursement request.
I would think all that has to be filled out.
I don't know.
I don't need,
Here you go. Shoot. Melissa may know more than, no,
But keep saying transfer.
about page 4 or 5, and then there's a lot of blanks. I don't know if they have to be filled out or not.
and then if you can hear me, did this come straight from COG?
training. law.
Can you hear me? Jet, can you hear me?
Got a training log time filled out on it, and
Jet, can you hear me?
we can table. I guess, yeah.
Yeah, we
That's
got
what I'm gonna say, let's,
Okay,
I make a motion that we table the resolution for CT.
Yeah.
So, it's something that I do wanna look at,
sure.
and,
Well, let's- I think that's,
sure that we're gonna be doing the right thing by
sure.
getting in this interlocal agreement, so yes,
I
let's
think that's
cancel this and.
I think that's the best thing to do is table it. So a motion, Commissioner Williams, you made that motion.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Motion been made by Commissioner Williams to table it. I'll second that motion in the discussion. All those in favor of tabling the resolution for CTCD regarding PSAP interlocal agreement, say aye. Aye.
Who seconded that?
Any opposed? Ayes have it. So that item, and that will be tabled for next commissioner's report. Sheriff, thank you, sir. I think we're done with
We done with this time, Judge?
I think maybe we are, Sheriff. We appreciate your service and help. Number 13, I know our friends, Mr. Don King's here, Marcus Gujawa. We're gonna talk about the final plat for the Hoop and Horn subdivision and related matters. Marcus, you can stay back there to holler at you. Mr. Don King, thank you for coming. I hope you haven't gotten tired waiting on us. Don has been talking to us quite a bit on the Hoop and Horns. We put this on the agenda for final plat for the Hoop and Horns. I think there still may be some things that have come up that Mr. King is going to talk about. And I feel like Commissioner Sullivan, there's a real large 2 plats, maps. You might bring those up here for the commissioners to kind of look at. Put one on your side and one on the other side for, yeah. Well, just so we can, if they talk about Don, I got this in and it was too small for me to blow up. I could not even see it.
Yeah.
And Annette couldn't blow it up either.
Concerns
Yeah,
and reduce them and put them on one page.
yeah. And Marcus, you're gonna come up here, bud. I'm sure we'll have some questions for her. Sit on the first row there. Well, Don, I'll turn it over to you, sir, if you want to start off.
Well, number one, my job, my focus is make sure that the subdivision that y'all approve, meets the minimum standards of the board, certainly anymore, and your subdivision rules and regulations. In this case, Bowman is a very large company. They have multiple offices scattered out through the nation. However, this one's in Marshall, Texas. And so it's extremely important that this plat and enough information on it to be able to reach that, say any particular law on the subdivision. The local area surveyors are about to interpret this. Of course, Walden can come and state it, I mean, it's his project. But, common sense and economics tell me that, you know, if lot number 12 needs to be resurveyed, they're not gonna drive from Marshall, Texas, to survey lot 12. So they'll turn it over, every landowner or proposed owner wants, they'll call some other local surveyor to state it. And that's when you have regulations involved, so that way the public is protected. So not just one person has the ability to go out there and state it. Now, we've been through numerous revisions, we're down to the wire, it's real close to being finalized. Number one, on this particular review on page 1, battery calls are the second most important thing according to the Board of Land Survey. And now it'll be legible, bold, very apparent if that's what they intended. And from day one, asked for these letters to be bolder and larger. Well, and I talked to their technician, his name is Bruce, and he said he didn't know why they missed it all the time, but he was gonna correct that problem.
Now, he told me he's out Friday, he has not had time to get it corrected, or he is, or did, or ain't that part.
Well, he said he'd correct page 1 according to that. I talked to him Thursday,
Okay,
the last week.
okay,
And number 2, is concerned to me, the title company, first of all, we, when I say we, the county, y'all, many of the officials, myself, were put on what you call, in legal terminology, constructive notice, meaning that the word of mouth, Parks and Wildlife. This used to be a genetic, engineered, game ranch. And from the beginning, a year ago, I quizzed, you know, it was a game ranch, I was very knowledgeable about the game ranch. And now it's turning to the subdivision, so it can't be, I mean, you gotta have one or the other. So I thought, Parks and Wildlife, and it could be both. But Parks and Wildlife, at that time, we put us on construction notice, it's still a genetic release site. In other words, according to the game board, that if they have a deer in South Texas and they need to move it, they can probably get up to this location, even though it'd be a subdivision. So, and the title company, of course, nothing has been filed in the county records. So they did their job, and there's no problem with title insurance. But being we put on constructive notice, that the issue of the Parks and Wildlife and the requirements or restrictions, which I believe, they sent an email from Austin, telling us that we gotta have a 7-foot high, game fence and a 20-foot gate. It has to be a minimum 20-foot gate, and that all gates have to be closed. So the deer can't escape, and vice versa, the local deer cannot get in the project. Now, that's not something that Mills County, you gentlemen have any control over. This is strictly up to the developer to either prove to you and the title insurance company that those restrictions, do not apply, or they do apply, and we can abide. If they abide by them, which, being this is the technicalities involved in genetics game ranch, but I think those requirements, they need to be on this page number 1, when Bowman makes their corrections.
Okay.
And that's, that's strictly up to the developer and the Parks and Wildlife, that report, one way or the other needs to be done, but we have to be satisfied that that's been taken care of.
I'm not stopping there, and Marcus, you're involved, of course, with this project, you're complying with everything and understand what Mr. King's saying, correct? On that, there's a microphone there.
Yes, sir. The way I understand it, the high fence, perimeter high fence has to remain up and perpetuity has to remain closed.
Yes.
Yes, sir. And that's our expectation.
And I've talked to the Texas Parks and Wildlife, whoever the official was, there's rules and stuff about game management fences and things. But, something coming in subdivision, something low, we'll say, unique. Now, Marcus, you said you're doing a bunch of these projects with game fences. Last time we talked, did you have any information on that? He said you were working on several projects that were game ranches that were making in subdivisions.
But a high fenced area that's been a game ranch may not be a genetically modified deer breeding facility.
Yeah.
That's complete, just cause it's got a high fence on
Yeah.
it,
Yeah,
does
but,
not
yeah,
mean that it
yeah,
has
let me
the
say
same
that, yeah,
stipulations.
you're correct,
And the gates have to be closed at all times.
yes.
I've got something, I mean,
Yeah,
Last question.
the roadways, the roads have to be dedicated to the public. So that way, the fire department, the sheriff department, government entities have the right to come and go in this subdivision.
Yes,
But at that same time, it's gotta be gated where they stay closed. So the genetic deer that's inside the ranch can't get out, and vice versa, the
wild deer can't
moon
be-
dog will, local deer that get in contaminated or genetic.
I want to clarify something. You said that it's not the county's job to regulate that?
Not up to
it's gonna be
y'all.
between
So-
Parks and Wildlife and Hoof and Horns.
It's up to 20 parts of wildlife, that's all.
Okay,
Yeah,
so, but you're,
Because we've been put on constructive notice, this exists, and the title company. Which means every, real estate broker or attorney in town. There's got to be some kind of satisfaction about the setting of that, because, and I have to admit that, Parks and Wildlife, they've got their own rules and regulations, and they don't really have to abide by the county rules about filing something in the county clerk's office, so that's the reason the title insurance companies didn't pick up on it, but since we've been put on constructive notice, and that's legal notice, it's got to be ratified.
so it's got to be added to the page 1.
Yes, sir, and I believe it needs to be on page 1, because mainly that's for the most of it. The other pages have so much data on it, you'll get lost in the sea of words.
And I might stop you there now, and Mr. Malone, County Attorney Malone, I know has been working on this certificate. It might be a good time for you to give your comments, Bill, on the certificate and everything that's going on.
Sure, I think we're pretty close to having an agreement on the certificate. I had emailed my proposed certificate, which was not totally complete to Marcus, but it had the part about the deer. Apparently his client, the insurance company, wanted to add a phrase that I emailed back saying we would not be able to add that without some written agreement from Parks and Wildlife. So I guess the insurance company hasn't gotten back on that. And the only other phrase I would need would be that the county is not guaranteeing adequate water. And
Our county does not assume responsibility for maintenance of the interior roads. Okay. There was one other provision I'll go down.
And that's why the,
Once you get inside the fence, it's up to the developer to maintain the roads, and it should have been laid out in your HOA or deed restriction. But you still have to dedicate to the public for the protection, protective services that county and state approach.
What was the status of the HOA? We discussed Marcus HOA and what we need, what we don't need, Don, help me out. What was it? Are we needing anything, on the HOA county perspective?
Well, you know, and they've been building roads.
Yes,
You probably about 80%. Something like that.
finish.
The roads, and this is, we dealt with this in Bryan County, but the roads, unless he wants to asphalt. The county can't take it over from like. Unless you want to do asphalt, and that's up to you. And that's where you still got to dedicate to the public. We actually have a subdivision in Bryan County where, a person was shooting at cars as it went through there, but it turned out, and yes, the sheriff department arrested the man, but he got dismissed because the sheriff didn't have legal right to be in on the property. So we, 30 years ago, made sure that all roads within the subdivision dedicated to the public. So that way all school buses, mailman, fire protection, etc. have the right to come in and out of them. And they're supposed to either have a knockdown gate or a code. What's that? They're either supposed to have a knockdown gate, which you could not have on this, or a code to get in. Well. And the dedications of the public need to be on the plat. So the surveyor time up here, they see the plat. And that again should be on the certificate page. Mills County, should on y'all's page, should make a statement that y'all will not accept maintenance of the roads. Now, later on, if they want to pay them and come before commissioners and meet the specifications, for payment, where y'all can accept it like this, that's what, that happens too a lot, later on. But that needs to be in y'all's certificate. And in the ownership certificate where, Hook and Horn signs off on it, they should, it ought to state also that the roads are dedicated, the roads and easements are dedicated to the public and will be privately maintained.
Marcus said that the roads were done, but last time I looked, they only went up to the fence and stopped.
well, that sounds like to me, that's what I was just fixing to ask Robert. I was thinking the exact same thing. But that's because Texas Parks and Wildlife is saying that there's gotta be a gate there. You can't just go cut every one of them.
I understand that, but I mean, you say the roads are done, but they come up
Yeah,
fence and
that's
stop,
true.
so the road ain't
True,
done.
very true.
Well, I think you're gonna have your drainage in, cause each one of those 6 entrances, the main entrances are gonna have 10 horns. Your gates are gonna have to be there, they're gonna have to be completed. But there's also 33 lots on this, the best that I can count. 33 exterior lots that are gonna
Access to county road.
access to county roads.
There's no interior road to them.
So every one of them is gonna have to have a gateway and probably a 10 horn. They come off county roads 189, 190, and 196. But the best that I could count, there's 33 lots around the outside that have no way of feeding onto any of the interior roads.
So Marcus, what's y'all's plans on those exterior lots there?
It would be, we would put the, burden on the individual when they decided to develop to put a culvert in and then the fence.
Well, what about the main roads?
We do that as soon as we got our final plat, we got a gate guy ready to do that, but we didn't want to do anything until we got our plat. But I mean, the lot goes all the way up to the very edge of the property, you just need to
Okay.
cut the gate and put the gate, but we didn't want to do that until we got our approval.
Refresh go ahead.
No, I would think that's backwards. I would think that your 6 entrances would need to be in place with the drainage. Because if we do a final plat right now, and then y'all do or do not decide to put them in, we have no control over the final plat. I mean, they're gonna have to be put in, they're gonna have to be put in before you can sell any lots.
Well,
There's no way to get people in there.
each lot that is touching a public road, highway, public county road, that individual, are Hook and Horns company. And that'll be designated as HOA or deed restrictions. They'll have to make an application to you, the county, for a tenant.
Yeah.
And some counties, they charge, each permit every what the cost of the tin horn is. And actually, some counties install a tin horn. And when it gets, highway right away and tech stop's got further restrictions. But again, all of that needs to be covered in the deed restrictions or the HOA.
Don't we need the HOA? Because actually, we do have a tin horn policy, if you wanna call it that. Don't know it, I mean, you do have to come get an application from the county. As a commissioner, we've done it before, it ends up being a mess, and it wasn't 33. It was like 9 on a half-mile stretch of road. We did come up, there is a minimum, distance between tin horns on small lots, which is 125 feet. I would rather it be written, maybe this is a bill deal, that this many tin horns, we don't even have time.
Y'all cover that in HOA.
Yes, sir, they have to have a county approved tin horn when they.
But do we have an HOA?
Why not require a tin horn? Depending on the location, but, most of the county road has a bar ditch.
Yeah.
That you gotta cross.
Yeah.
And you can't restrict the flow of water. And so it's gotta be properly installed.
Yeah.
And that treats some counties take full control of those channels. And I know Ohio, if you ever make an application, Ohio.
Yeah. We have like applications every now and then one gets put in, that's the reason I would say it needs to be written into the HOA agreements. You know, that you will go to the county and the county commissioner will sign off on you putting a tin on.
Well, I think before the final plat is fully approved, I think we need to copy of the deed restrictions and or the HOA.
Yeah.
So that way we know what's exactly in there, what is covered and not covered. Is that all right?
Yeah,
I have to get with the life insurance company. I think I had mentioned it some time ago, but their stance was that, it's not required for the.
Well, it's really not required, but in this case, now this is an extremely large subdivision. There's not too many of them in the size of the state of Texas. Of course, you get closer to the metropolis areas, they are subdivisions of this size. But for rural Texas, this is an extreme
Yes.
subdivision. And it's got one good tax base, which will be good for the county. Independence. But at the same time, we gotta make sure that, and I'm not waiting for this. About, it's gonna be a first class subdivision. But if you look, whether. I think we need to get ironed out. I think if we fully covered with HOA and or. At least these restrictions are gonna be attached to the, like Parks and Wildlife, that's got to be addressed. some kind of formal document from parking lot. They can be filed and be worked. And the HOA and the deed restrictions will cover the cost.
Refresh my memory, we discussed this before, but the mailboxes, are they, y'all got a designated area just outside for all the mailboxes? I can't remember what.
I think we've got designated at the intersection of county roads and some
Okay.
highways. I think you've got
Okay.
it laid out for mail delivery, so mailman does not have to drive. Am I right?
Well, they don't want to go inside, I don't think. I think they want it outside. The one south of town has it outside.
Yeah.
So they don't. have to-
I think that's laid out, is that correct?
Okay,
Is that correct? Thank you, sir.
okay.
Now, check on. Oh, let's see, get on page 2, and I'm not gonna go through 15 pages.
Yeah.
Because like I said, we're pretty well nearly there. But page 2, I asked for a sheet index, and they do have one, on the top right-hand corner, that's different from what page it was, but it's not satisfied, it's not what you would call a sheet index. And what I mean by the sheet index, there's 15 pages. So, on page 2, I would like them to add a sheet index where they show a division line between sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3. So when the average surveyor, title person, or man on wants a copy of this, he can go to that index on page 2 and say, well, I only need a copy of this page. And that way, because this thing's 15 pages.
Yeah. And on top of that, Don, I do know we need, the final plat needs to, y'all need to take the two final plats to the 2 title companies and to MCAT too. I guess y'all are planning on doing that, correct? Mills County Appraisal District. Sorry to interrupt you, Don, go ahead.
Okay. So, if I would add, get him, once you get them to have a sheet index, I talked briefly with Bruce about that. And I said, well, we're splitting hairs. But the index that he's got, it was way back there on page 12 or 14, and it's just not satisfactory. Page 2 has plenty of room. And it just makes it better for the public to be able to see it. Are you following?
Yes, sir. I think everything that you had mentioned to Bruce on Thursday, he's corrected it all and he's emailed it back to me via Mindcast or Mind. Well, I can't remember what that program is, but, he's gotten all the corrections.
Something about it, and I want to make a note on that, somewhere on the internet, between Marshall and here. The attachments that you send 90% of the time. They'll really come through. Now, I don't know, and I've sent the attachments around to various other surveyors. Out of 5 of them, 3 of them can open it, and go through the good, so I don't know what's going on. Now, thanks for your question. Now, the engineers finally have, and it's on page 2, on the old document. And it appears to have 4 different, what you would call drainage or flooding attached in. Now, to have a easement, you have to be able to locate it. And Bruce directed me to page 15, that call table, but the call tables are really dark and really small and not big. But the state of Texas, on easements, it's got to be locatable in the ground. So this is the main concern on this drainage and flooding. The drainage easements have to be monitored. and a legal description of the four tracks or four flood easements or drainage easements. So that way, that again, is going to go to a legal document for the title companies, so they can accept the area within that drainage easement. And that pretty well covers all, I mean, nearly all the pages, all the way through to third. Now, the coordinates, which each corner of those easements have got to have a value, which is gonna have to have a coordinate, X, Y, Z. And that needs to be included in your coordinate list, which is not right now, which is on 12 and 13. Those need to be indicated on those pages, along with the electronic files. The electronic files are extremely important on this gentleman, because, like, again, a surveyor out in Comanche, Texas, or Eastman, or is gonna need what you call an ASCII, ASCII text format with common delineate. The reason I'm saying that is that way they can enter that into their handheld GPS, and they can go back on the ground and correctly locate the corners and the especially the season. To be able to do a sufficient job in the public. It's a protective requirement for the public. And I know that's real technical and upside down, that's between engineers and I. And so far, they've been able to accommodate that. But the drainage and/or flood easement are, right now, they're just drawn on this paper. But that is an easement, like a pipeline easement or power line easement, it's got to be located on the ground before the survey.
And you mentioned shaded area, you may be discussing that here in a minute. There's a shaded area or something that wasn't shaded properly. What was that?
Come again?
There's a shaded area on the diagram or the plat that you
Yeah, the
got.
shaded area is the drainage or flood.
Yeah, talk about that, yeah. Okay,
And it's taken up to the map to get that.
yeah,
I've requested it many times.
okay.
Now, the TBM or temporary benchmarks, those need to be monumentated on the ground also. And again, in that ASCII file or coordinate file, which is on pages 12 through 14. They have a beautiful map of coordinates, but that needs to be added to those pages.
Okay.
Now, when I get the final product, which I think the appraisal district, and I talked to several of them, they'll have to, this is for you, Marcus, and Bruce knows it too, has to be dummy down to AutoCAD 2000. Because not everybody keeps up with the world. The CAD format to Bowman, which is a top line company, that's a usage program. And immediately when I open it up, it wants me to go to the internet for updates. Well, that's when you've got to put it back to 2000, so it doesn't do that. And that keeps the tax, the appraisal districts, tax format, everything correctly on that. And also for any future surveyor that comes in here, which county clerk needs somehow put on her computer where she can, get them electronic files. Or I don't need to be the only one that gets that electronic file. Now, I haven't reviewed the current electronic files because these hard copies
copy changes have to be made. So that means electronic files have to be redone. But, which we got to include also what I mentioned before, and the flooding. So we're really close to getting done.
Marcus, you have any comments you want to add or anything?
I had a question for, Mr. Malone. You had mentioned, or that verbiage that you had sent about the Parks and Wildlife, who came up with that verbiage?
I do.
Okay,
Well, I mean, I think the audit asked for it, I think we projected the background, but yeah, I put it together.
so just that comment that we had, just adding that verbiage, if there's a deer, that was not acceptable?
Well, no, because, well, it would be if Parks and Wildlife agrees to that. But my understanding is the whole area is a designated, wildlife deer, so. And, even if you took them all out, if they found some, like Don said, South Texas or somewhere, and wanted to transport them to put it back in there, then.
Well, it would have to be an active site, but not, there's no active permitting at all in open ones.
Well, we don't know that. We were told,
I think that Judge Johnson had got, confirmation right from the gentleman at Parks and Wildlife that there was no active permitting and.
Yeah, they said it's mainly about the fence that remain up in through perpetuity. But as far as, when I talked to them, that's been a while back, I talked to a guy, but I can't remember his name right now. But as far as bringing deer in, and one time, Don, did you tell me you talked to someone saying that, state still owns some of those breeding pens and things, or is that all?
I was told it's still classified as a lease
Side.
which means if they need to move a deer from South Texas with the same genetics, that they have to have a place to move it to, like it run out of grass or water. That they could still use this site and the release site. They don't actually process the genetic deer like they used to in the past, but they still have it as a release site.
Yeah, I was told something different from
Well,
someone else.
we need clarification.
Yeah, that's just, we do need to clarify, yeah.
For the protection of the public, because if I own lot 12 and all of a sudden Parks and Wildlife trailer pulls up there at 2 AM in the morning and dumps out a bunch of deer on my lot, at least I need to know why they're doing it. And that's reason, and it's constructive notice. And until, unfortunately, because the words have left their mouth from an official of Parks and Wildlife, it's gonna take something to writing.
Yeah, it would have to be an active release site, which,
Yeah.
again, it's not an active, it was
Well,
that one.
we don't know.
It's not.
We don't know that.
Yeah, I know y'all said y'all aren't doing, there's not any huge bucks out there now. Just watch those deer.
And the
They're
email,
smaller than the ones outside the fence.
Well, that's what, yeah.
and the email.
I mean, that was like 25 years ago.
But see, the email I still says subject to fence and 1 foot gate and all the other requirements. And I haven't got anything from them saying, no, you know, it's dead issue. So, I mean, I can't produce it, I could, but if you're developed, so unfortunately, falling back from your back.
So,
We've all been told.
yeah. One other question, Marcus, you sent me the latest water quality deal, which is 114 pages. I did print it out, kind of skimmed through it. There, it said total coliform was detected in the samples. Did I miss on the first one, or was that something new, or?
Say that.
Total, am I pronouncing that right, Bill? Coliform? Coliform, yeah. Coliform was detected in the sample on the duplicate sampling. Said E. coli was absent from the sample, but, I don't know if that's any concern or not. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. That's on the page, or page it was. Yeah, 21.
And Mr. King, so have they met the utilities requirements and stuff that is set? Cause if,
Sorry.
so the state of Texas has said that they have to be, they have to be able to get internet by a certain, so many days.
Well, I don't know about that.
And so well, in our guidelines, it says that locations and dimensions of utilities and easement must be coordinated with utility provider. Well, there's a statute now that they have to be able to get electricity to a I mean, not electricity, internet to a location within so many days.
Well, there's some utility lines on the east side, and I'm sure it probably has internet capability. I don't know.
Okay, well, that's what I'm just saying. If they got something in the middle, somebody bought this lot in the dead center, they're gonna have to go and get that internet to that.
It might have to come off, and it's gonna be in the HOA. What the developer can furnish to the public.
And they'll have to have,
So where's the easement at then?
Well, the easement, more likely to be down the road, and there is easement.
There's access and utility easements on every road.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking, Marcus.
interior,
We dedicate
Yeah.
to-
interior road.
Yes, yeah,
And we dedicate to public roadway and the easement.
okay, that's what I want to, yeah, thank you guys for answering.
Well,
that,
they're
yeah.
supposed to be 60 foot wide. I don't guess anybody has actually measured them. I guess they did when they were building.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that,
But
because the statute changed on that a few years ago, is what I'm saying, and it may have changed. And so the co-op has to be able to get internet to that house within like 10 days. And if it's a long process across there and all that other stuff, and there's no dedicated easement,
And see,
like he's saying, the roads.
It's, doesn't have to have a cable. It's Wi-Fi or whatever.
Right.
And they may have to have a booster station out there.
And what's in, this ain't the same, but what Central Texas did on Indian Springs to get the internet capabilities to all the lots was they made a deal with Hamilton County Electric. They put it on their electric lines. Now, this is gonna be dealing with Comanche County Electric, so. I don't
Is
know.
this, this is all Comanche?
Yes.
Well, again, I think in defense of Marcus and this development, I think the HOA or deed restrictions will answer a lot of these questions that y'all are asking.
We have to have them.
Well, it's true, you don't have to have it. But the side of this development, it's in behalf of the developer and the public to have it. In Brown County, we won't accept the plat unless we have. It should go through. We have accepted subdivisions without restrictions or without HOA, and those subdivisions are basically dead. And they're a nuisance to the public. And so, I say as Brown County, and make sure that we've always HOA and our deed restrictions filed on every subdivision. And we have time to review.
You've got to have something that, I mean, we've got enough of them. You have to have something to fall back on. I mean, that's just,
And Don, there was some confusion earlier on engineering surveys and whatnot. There was some confusion early on about engineering surveys. You told me all their engineering companies, it will be sufficient for the county's perspective, right?
Yes,
Yeah, they don't have to worry about getting someone else, John Doe from Brownwood or whoever, correct?
that's correct.
Okay.
are we not setting a different presence there?
Well, see, that's where the confusion was. We had it earlier, someone come in to do the, rolling oaks, right?
See,
They did.
Mills County,
anything right.
Mills County, they're like Brown. I am the last surveyor in Brandon County.
Yeah,
Mills County, you've got one surveyor, up there, outside of Moulton. So 90% of your surveyors are gonna come in from out of county. And ever who comes in, they're gonna have to have the data and what it's got these things. The bill go out in the state box with it. And because it's his liability to be able to save the property.
yeah.
But it's our liability as a county to make sure that we furnish the data for him to do so.
But that goes back to confusion on the engineering survey deal. I know what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, I don't know that it would ever happen, but we had set a precedent that we would, even with other companies, that, we could use their engineers, but we did not have to. I mean,
See, the surveying industry has been deregulated, gentlemen. And when I say that, used to, if you had a survey office in town, you had a licensed surveyor in that office. And 90% of the time, he was the one that went out there on the ground. That's
Okay,
not the way it is anymore. In terms of big companies like Bowman, which is corporate surveying. And they've got probably one surveyor that covers 5 cities. And then there's what's called construction crews that work underneath them. So you don't know who's coming on the ground. So the data, you got to be there to make sure, regardless of their training, that they have the capabilities to do the correct job on the ground.
I guess my big, go ahead.
Go ahead, Marcus, yes, sir. You might bring your microphone up because we can't pick you up.
Oh, I can't hear.
Later here, okay.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Sorry. Yeah.
That was a letter from the, engineer.
Okay,
No rate later. Good. Is this affecting they would be talking about?
I believe that's what we were just talking about with the engineer.
Well, this is a professional engineer, which doesn't pertain to our surveying, but he's referencing to our flood zones. But, the drainage easement flood zones, takes the board of land surveying, which is the same board. We still have to monitor those outside perimeters of those zones, which until this last review, didn't even know existed. Suspected it, but it never was shown on the map. And now it's shown, I hate to say it, the field crews that show like that. And state those easements. You understand?
I'll get with Bruce.
Okay.
You relay that to.
Sure.
Marcus, all that we talk about, this is recorded on YouTube. You can go back and listen to what Mr. King said and everything. I know there's a lot of information here. And Marcus, as Don said, we're getting closer, but I can't approve I'm gonna make a motion not to approve the final plat, because we still got a lot of questions and everything still. Y'all can work on it. We can put on I'd like to make sure y'all got everything done before we come back again.
So,
Yeah.
Can I ask?
Yes, sir.
Well, like, is there anything I missed?
Not that I'm aware of. So that, just that verbiage, Mr. Malone, that you had sent me, earlier in the week, just putting something in there, that says like with the approval of Parks and Wildlife, that the fence could be removed or something like that. Because we added that verbiage, but if we just thinking about meeting in the middle there, like with the approval of Parks and Wildlife.
Sure, yeah, if the Department of Wildlife, gave written approval by an authorized
Now, technically, supposed to have a certificate for the state of Texas Highway Department approves the plat from the entryways off the highway. You could have a separate certificate for Parks and Wildlife to sign off on the plat. So that way that removes
Sure.
any kind of discussion on all the requirements and stuff that's flying through the air, may or may not be. Depends on what you want to do, you're the developer. If you want to put a certificate on Parks and Wildlife, we can find somebody to sign it. It's up to you.
I'll get with, the insurance company and.
What? And I wish that the game warden never called me, I wish I never heard this.
Well, it just, you know, the thing is, we have to keep the perimeter of the fence up for perpetuity, so that's easily done, that's the whole reason. Or that's one of the purpose of being in that subdivision is that it's several items.
But because of the outside boundary fence has got to stay up, that means Parks and Wildlife still does have some rights to it. And that means what you told me about on the base side, not genetic engineering on site, but they still have the right to bring deer up and leave it on that farm.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that last part, but I think we're good with putting it on the plat and everybody acknowledging it.
Okay.
The only
I
thing,
had one.
Yes, sir, go ahead. Whoever.
your main entrances, as I'm calling them, your 6 entrances that feed your interior
Yes,
roads.
sir.
On the county roads, and this is not a requirement, but it'd be great if those gates were inset,
Oh, yes, sir.
because if people are trying to come in with a pickup trailer or whatever, they're gonna be blocking the county roads while their automatic gate, I assume,
Good point.
opens and shuts, and there's 6 of them. Now, the 33 lots, I'm sure those are just gonna be 10 horns with gate openings. You know, that feed onto the county road.
Yes, sir.
But particularly if you can get the traffic load off of the county road. Now, I do have, well, I don't have grave concerns. I guess that'd be an engineer question. On County Road 189 where, what is it, Whitetail Ridge drives, comes on to 189. There's no way by looking at without shooting it, that those bar ditches coming down Whitetail Ridge Road are gonna flood County Road 189. On
That's
the
on
east side,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, so, all along the road, they're pulling that water out, so it's not just coming down.
Well, from where I can see it is,
Yeah.
there's no cutouts from,
There's several of them, there.
and their cul-de-sacs are all in place, everything inside.
Mr. Dale, all the gates will be inset, right? That's
The only thing, and y'all may have this covered too, on the final plat, it says driveway culverts will be designed by a licensed professional engineer also.
Okay.
So it,
Culvert size.
well,
Well, yeah, to each property, it says it's, that's the way I read it, right?
well, final plat, driveway culvert shall be designed by a licensed professional engineer.
Yeah, so I think they've already got like a little, a table that says, okay, these lots, these are the size, these lots, these are the size, so they've got them measured out, so there'll be minimum standards within, and of course, outside along the county borders as well. But there will be minimum standards inside as well.
But all your drainage inside is set, right?
Correct.
I mean, you do that before you top your roads,
Correct.
but
Correct.
Donna, I know you sent us a bill, or refresh my memory, we pay from the final plat, or the fees, preliminary plat fees to you, right? I believe that's where the money comes from, or do they pay you directly? I think we've been paying, haven't we?
Well,
So you sent us a statement, and I'll send down our treasurer,
that
but
comes up to you yesterday.
yes, and but that comes, the money comes from the preliminary plat that they submitted, the money they had to pay for all those lots,
Yeah,
I believe, yeah.
I call it the preliminary of the final plat.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think one more revision, I think we'll have this thing.
okay.
Um,
Well, Marcus, you see what's going on, what y'all gotta do still, and you'll be in touch, go
One
ahead.
more question.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate everybody's time. So, does the court stand that the CCNRs, y'all need to see the restrictions now before getting plat approval? Is that?
That's up to y'all.
Well, I don't know the answer to that, I'll take some comments.
Yeah, I think, I didn't bring my copy, but I think the, subdivision regulations require the restrictions to be, given with the preliminary plat. I didn't go back and dig that out, but
Yeah.
I think it'd be good to have the HOA and the restrictions.
Okay.
That's the way that's the way it is. Just about every county I go to,
Okay,
that's easy. If you're gonna have restrictions, it can be with preliminary plat. 'Cause it could have, you know, it could have some stuff in there.
Yeah. Well, Marcus, I'd recommend being in touch with Mr. King for anything with your engineers or whoever's working with them, and also Mr. Malone on that certificate. And, commissioners, any other questions or comments?
The only thing I got is, and we referenced it or talked about it, of course, there is one road in Enchanted Oaks Drive that if you look at your deal, it says that any road can max 30 lots off of any road. The way I look at it, Enchanted Oaks Drive has 43 lots that feed off of that primary road. Now, they may have something else going on that they're saying, no, these feed off one of these secondary roads, but still your primary road is your main road coming in. You know, and the others that fall off of them would be secondary roads to me.
Well, once you cross that boundary line, county road, we, the county, Mills County has, you know, we're not doing maintenance on the road, so we have no control.
No, but it's in the subdivision regulations. I mean, those
Talk
were,
about primary road, it goes from one going all the way across.
yeah,
And if y'all, it's up to y'all about the restrictions you wanna put on that road, it's up to y'all.
well, the whole deal is, we had 1985 ones, and then they were adopted again in 22, I think. And then revisited in 24.
22, 23, and now.
If you're not gonna go by your subdivision regulations, there's no point in having.
Well,
I agree.
I'm not seeing anything where it says anything on subdivision, I mean, on HOAs.
and I'll give
No,
you-
the HOAs is not in there, but I don't see how you can make any decisions without an HOA set.
And it's like one of the first things in that, in those documents, it says buyer must comply with all local. You know, county, state, I mean, they have to, you know, that kind of saves everybody's butt, that, you know, you guys gotta. Abide by local rules.
Let me tell you, and this ain't about hoof and horns, or I suppose that's what it's gonna be called still. Is the development is hoof and horns,
Chris Cunningham will be done in a minute.
but, the thing that I see or have seen, and I'm not knocking y'all's company, y'all are gonna be exactly the same. Y'all are out to sell these lots. And then we probably will not see anybody. We hadn't seen Texas Land Partners, we have not seen anybody from Rolling Oaks. Once they get them sold, they vanish. But they leave people with, like, Indian Springs, perfect example. These people are, I'm not gonna say dumb, they're ignorant to the fact of living in the country. And we had people come to Pretty because there is a waterworks there. We're having trouble locating our water line. They were never upfront about telling them that you had to put in roads, that you had to put in septic, that you had to put in your own well. They haven't, I don't know what y'all are gonna do, but they had 2 high pressure sales.
Well, in defense of the developer and help satisfy your question about that. 99 lots and above, you're supposed to take the subdivision through HUD, Housing Urban Development. And that means Marcus and our people would take this subdivision and go to Washington DC and submit it to HUD. And they would immediately look at the developer and say, well, you're gonna have to put in a water system. They're about to guarantee 213 miles of water. Is that feasible for Mills County? No, it's not. No. So, but we, or y'all, county, are not guaranteeing those landowners that they're gonna have water. They're not guaranteeing, anything other than what the developer says he's gonna provide. And that's where the HOA restrictions come in, what the developer is gonna provide the public. And what's covered in that, depending on what the county attorney and his reviews, we're talking about legal. I'll just tell you, from a surveyor standpoint, 40 up here. First thing I the surveyor will look in that HOA is what is provided before I go on the ground. So that way, when the landowner asks me the question, he's going to put up, I can halfway and tell them that they answer it, but then I have to immediately say you need to consult with an attorney. Because that is a legal issue. What we, the county, or y'all in Mills County, y'all can't guarantee water. They know what to put under the ground. Marcus doesn't know. He's hired the top engineers probably in the state. And you ask them about the water and they're not going to guarantee it either. Because they don't know. They've done a study and what I say, 12%, yeah, percentage was you brought them certain percentage that they in the water study. But anyway, they can't guarantee it either, and that's when you have HUD.
Yeah.
But being that they're gonna go through HUD, you can't make them go through HUD.
But they have to sign off having the 213 lights, don't you?
Now, HUD is all different. It's different entity.
You got all kinds of copies for us, then, Marcus.
My wife was busy last night.
Yeah, hold on.
Killing trees. And just to save some resources, I have a couple.
Yeah, I got a copy already.
Anybody else?
I don't.
I've got it, but I was gonna ask about it too. This is dated in 24. Is there it's May 3rd of 2024.
The one you left,
This
please,
water
to us.
study.
That's how long we've been working on
But the first one that we seen was over 25% occupancy.
Yeah, you'd like to see an end of this.
Kind of, but yes, sir, the updated one had. Because when they had first asked me, I said, yeah, there might be like 25%, and they used that for some reason. It was just conversation, but I'm like, no, we need full approval for the full
Whole thing.
subdivision, so they had to go back. and-
which comes to the, where is it?
Let me read this document Marcus just gave us. I know you got some questions too. Sorry to interrupt you, Commissioner.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. So, this is from Steptoe and Johnson, attorneys at law. Dear Mr. Fujawa, you requested our analysis of applicability of 15 USCS chapter 42, known as the Interstate Land Sales Act, to the Hoop and Horn subdivision as described in the preliminary plat, an application for final plat for such subdivision. Based on the contemplated structure and sales plan you described to us, it appears the sale lots in Hoop and Horn subdivision will be exempt under 15 USCS 1702B, 5 from the registration disclosure requirements described and mandated under the ILSA. So kind of explain that a little better, I'm a little confused reading this.
I believe there's exemptions that from the HUD.
Okay.
From participating in that.
Well, I don't understand what this means. what I'm
Yeah,
getting
I
at.
don't.
Yeah.
That's above my pay grade.
Okay, well, that's,
There's exemptions that say, hey, if, what they're trying to, what I took away from it is very much like, somebody mentioned like an urgency where they come and give you a bit, hey, here's a free set of golf clubs.
yeah,
Come look at the land and we'll give you a free set of golf clubs. So you can't, I think that's what it's
okay,
trying to avoid, like, deceptive
okay.
selling
Practices.
practices and stuff like that, so.
Yeah, I didn't understand what all this was. If they exempt under 15 USCS and it describes ILSA, which I've never heard of either one of them, so I don't know anything about that. Okay. Dale, go ahead, sir.
No, I can't find it now, it was in here, but they were talking about the water usage, and I don't even know how much is in a acre foot, but is,
43,560.
was it okay?
gallons, yeah, something like 40, yeah, something like
It
that.
was 20 million something. 20,197,000 gallons per year.
Yeah.
But it was 83 point something acre feet of water, if it was total capacity. It was in here somewhere. It was in something.
Yeah. Anything else?
Now,
Marcus, I'm gonna make a motion that we do not approve the final plat for the Hoop and Horn subdivision until further issues are resolved. How's that sound, Mr. Malone and Mr. King, everybody? So that's my motion. I'll make a motion. We do not approve the final plat for Hoop and Horn subdivision until other issues are resolved.
I'll second it.
Okay, I made a motion second. Any discussion?
Yeah, is there any way that we can try and maybe put a deadline on this? Like,
It's a
like,
year.
no, to come back to the court to approve this final plat.
Oh.
You
Well-
know what I'm saying, like in the next commissioner's court or the next two commissioners court, so that everybody gets.
The changes that Mr. King has asked for has already been done.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, like, maybe, yeah. That's all I'm saying, but yes,
Well, the next case, we'll see in 2 weeks.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, okay.
Well, yeah.
Or
and-
we'll keep seeing until it gets it. done.
But I'll go back on past history. We've been working on, I know Marcus tried to get me on this final plat numerous times. We still weren't ready for everything. So, I mean, I've seen,
Well, we're getting new.
You're getting close. I agree.
Every time we submit, we're getting new.
I agree, we're getting,
Inspection, no inspection, so it's kind of been a little.
I agree, we're getting very close, but I kept saying that, and this has been going on not just for a month, going 3, 4, 5 months. I said, once Mr. King signs off on everything, we'll put on the final plat. And we're very close toward Mr. King. And, anyway, we'll see what we do in the next commissioner's court.
Well, I do know the requirements stated on the drainage easement have not been.
Yeah. Okay, we got a motion made and, who seconded it?
Dale did.
Mr. Commissioner Park second, any other discussion? All those in favor of, the motion I propose on, the final plat Hoop and Horn, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The Hoop and Horn plat will not be approved at this time. And Marcus, we'll be in touch with you and Don and everybody, just stay in communication with us all. Number 14, Commissioner's request for reports. Commissioner Sullivan, go ahead.
We've been working on changing oil out and we had to put a couple of tires on a couple of our trucks. We've worked on 315 for a little bit and it got too dry. Now we've got, I measured 3.8 inches of rain out of.
Wow.
Dang.
3.8.
Was it just enough? Good for you.
Yeah,
I had 2.4, 2.5. It's really good.
I had a lot of rain and the road is just perfect right now.
Wow.
We're working
Don't
on
touch it.
it, working on it, we've got to move to 318 to finish doing that project, so.
Yeah, all that rain, Bull Creek still didn't even run, it soaked it in, I was amazed, it rained 2 inches on Friday, because it didn't look like it.
I'm thankful for the rain.
Oh, yes, very thankful. All right, Commissioner Sullivan, Commissioner Head.
We've been hauling, on 312, trying to run off of it, it's, allow us to get in there and we can get all material, filling up the deep barges from the maize flood, and that's, what we're gonna be doing for a little while, we're just trying to get a little bit of FEMA stuff kind of worked on.
Good, y'all know y'all been busy with that. Okay, anything else?
No, all we've been doing is digging and all.
Okay, Commissioner Barton.
We've been shredding, been spot working on some roads. Fixing this week, try to put a couple of tin horns in, that is part of the FEMA, but I've got to get them done, whether FEMA approves them or not. I've talked to David Shaw and them, we're gonna go ahead and do them. Because we got a big hole in the road that people are complaining about. We're fixing well, I got to talk to Craig and see where we're at with the grinder. Fixing to start hauling wrap, hopefully next week.
You can have a grinder right now, if you want.
We'll get everything moved and lined out this week, and we're gonna haul some wrap. It seems to be rapidly leaving. So we're gonna haul wrap while we still hopefully get our project done around pretty. And that'll, I would love to be blading, but I think we need to haul our portion of the route. So that's what we'll be doing next 2 to 3 weeks anyway.
Okay, Commissioner Williams.
So got several things. We were working and hauling material on County Road 430 and also County Road 530, working on that, still finishing up the approaches to that low water crossing that we installed on 530. Just adding some material on both sides of that to go ahead and finish that up there. The Mack truck, we had a blowout on the right inside dual. It messed up the fender a little bit. We've repaired that, got new tire on it or a used tire back on it. Also in the same thing, the fuses keep blowing on that belly. And I don't know, there's like 7 or 8 fuses down in there. So I don't know what's causing, old fuses that are blown on that Mack truck. So maybe gonna look at doing something there. And I think what it is when you pull the lever for the tarp, it stays on. Or when you open the doors, it stays on. And so it burns out that fuse. Cause it does it like on our others, it automatically kicks back off. But on that one, it's not. And there's like, I don't know, there's 6 or 7 of those broken, blown fuses laying down in the floorboard. So
I know we had a while back, we had a fuse problem with it, but it wasn't really a fuse problem, it was, when we had to change out that switch.
yeah, but I think the whole reason the switch is blowing is because of that, is that it needs a automatic cut off, because they're not cutting the switch off. Once Robbie did that and Bluetooth fuses, and he figured out he thought it was just automatic cutting his off. It's not. And so, got a phone call or got a visitor last week, Frank Myers. He's at Construction Edge. They're willing to do a little discount in, cutting edges. If y'all want to, we can get together. If y'all need cutting edges, and we'll buy a larger and get it shipped to one precinct and then divide it up that way, that will be done. They're also an FAE supplier, which is our rock crusher, which my question is how many rock teeth do we have? New ones. Does anybody have any?
We got plenty.
You got new ones at your,
Mm.
okay, I've got 5 at my county barn.
I think we've got 2 boxes. There may still be some
I think
boxes.
we have 2 boxes that
Okay,
I know.
Yeah,
so when we bought those, y'all, they were $214. And we bought 50 of those.
a piece.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
they're 386
Oh,
now.
wow. Yeah, we're still,
And that is cutting out King Kong and going with Construction Edge because they're a King Kong dealer now. And King Kong, you have to go through a dealer now. So, Kirby Moore can get them too, but at that time they were way up. That's why we went with direct. So, if y'all don't mind, do a count on those to see if we need to get them because they could take a while to get them in if we need them. I know when I gave the crusher to you, we had about a dozen that probably need to be replaced. And I don't know if y'all replaced any. Yeah, and so, so if y'all don't mind, look at that. The other thing, next Commissioners Court, Judge, I will have a, bids for fuel and material.
Okay.
And, we need to make sure, we'll have both of those in there for next time. The only other thing, I was contacted, last week. Our guidelines and criterias that we approved, there is some, verbiage that kind of misleading on that. And so we may have to look at that to correct that. It says you got to have 2 employees or 2 people or more. And then on another line later on, it says 3 people or more. So 2 and 3, we just need to
Okay.
make that match.
Need to
Is
clean it up.
quick with there. And then, I did receive a, email yesterday or Saturday, and Red River has turned in an application
Okay.
for that. So I don't know if everybody got that. I don't remember because my email is down, so I'm looking at that. But
I don't have any news unless I overlooked something on solar.
and so it was sent in, so I do know it
Okay.
was submitted. So
Okay. I didn't even.
I
Yeah,
don't, I didn't. I
but
do have one other thing
Yes,
before
sir.
you go on. We do not have a bridge on County Road 508. It is completely gone.
yeah,
Well, don't be trying to jump it or anything.
Don't be
okay?
trying to jump it. It's gonna be twice as wide. They've got it cleared out. Hunting places to go with some of their concrete and stuff, which we're trying to help them out there, Jason. Helping them with some brush debris, but, it's not gonna be a single lane. I don't like it. It's still gonna be a culvert type bridge, but it's gonna be a lot wider.
Gonna look like mine's.
We'll just have to see what it ends up like. But I
I
did
don't
find
back
out,
to park there.
well, I don't think we'll have, well, you ought to clean it out.
And poke it down with the water right now.
But, I did find out the reason that the one on 508, that was supposed to be the last one. That bridge got subbed out to a bridge company that was ready to start on it. The one at Lake Merritt was supposed to be the next. Evidently, the bridge company that both of them got subbed out. Well, we'll do the one at Lake Merritt. Unless it gets subbed out. So anyway, we do have one of them. I ain't gonna say the bridge is in process, but the old bridge is completely gone. So that road is shut down
Okay.
until they get it back.
For 3 to 4 months, right?
So they said.
That's what they.
Yeah. and it is,
Like he said.
it has.
It is shut down.
It has changed the traffic flow on my end tremendously.
Yeah.
I mean, tremendously on my end. We're already getting some complaints from, people that don't usually, there's not a lot of traffic on those roads and they're calling me like, hey, I'm getting trash on my road. People throwing it out. They're driving real slow.
We'll tell them call Commissioner Partner, here's,
And my people,
So,
call them, so it's good time to talk.
the only other thing is we just need to, dot our i's and t's and stuff like this on some of the stuff that we've been dealing with. So, We also got LCRA approved a grant that will be coming forward for the Ebony community. They approved, I don't know exactly what the grant, how much the grant was for. I want to say 5,000 for a new water well service on that. And so that's a good thing because they also help use that for their community center, which is a staging area if there is a fire type situation out that way. I do not know. I'm sure you'll see that LCRA will do some kind of setting on that, but Ebony applied for that and got that approved. And I think they're using a local contractor to do that well. So
Well,
all's good.
do they, not in my business, do they have the money for the rest of it?
It's on the smaller end. Judge Mike can clarify that. The bigger ones, you have to have a match, but I don't think the smaller ones like
No.
5,000, you have
You
to
don't
have
have
a
to
match.
necessarily have a match on the bigger ones, because SRA is doing GoPlay VFD, a new extension they're building for $50,000. Now, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I don't know if they're even having to do anything on that or not.
I don't think we had to on ours over
Yeah,
here.
may not.
But what I'm saying is, are they drilling the well?
No, it's already there. They're just redoing it.
Okay, that might work.
Good.
Yeah,
Don't only if I have to drill one.
no,
Okay, is that it?
that's it.
Okay, it's 11:13. We've been here 2 hours, 13 minutes. I'm sure my county judge's report will be very short, Commissioner Head. I didn't have any news on solar. Commissioner Williams provided us some. And early voting's going on this week, right, Julie, until Tuesday, November the 4th, correct? That's voting day. And that's all I've got. So it's 11:14. I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. So, making an adjournment here, number 16. Motion to adjourn, but I'll stay a little longer. Okay. A motion by Sullivan, seconded by Commissioner Head. It's 11:14. I say we adjourn. Everybody have a good day.
I didn't make a motion.